Hey, if you're new here, I'm Sarah, and I'm hiking my way around Scotland's coast with my sketchbook and cameras. Currently, I'm on the Moray Coast Trail, which covers about 50 miles of rocky coast on Scotland's northeast edge, and it's home to some of the most spectacular geological features. Subscribe to follow along the highs and lows of my journey. Sunscreen feels so gross, but it's so necessary. How beautiful is the color of this water? I learned my lesson with the seals, and I decided I'm gonna bring my 5-year-old camcorder, this little thing, because I can do this. That's where I was standing yesterday. How cool is that? I have to be honest that this section of the trail is, it's not that I've been dreading it, but I have not been looking forward to it that much because it is basically just 7 miles of straight path next to the water, between the water and the forest, but it also passes a firing range, which I'm not sure is active, and if it is, I have to be detoured around. It's just like a very long, not super varied landscape, and it's also very hot. So I'm gonna have to take like a break every hour, make sure I'm drinking, stretching, getting electrolytes, and hopefully find something along the way to paint. I did read that there are some interesting things along this trail, like these old anti-invasion stone bunkers and blocks, which we'll soon see, I think. We have our first bunker here. It's a little creepy in here. Would you like fries with that? Sorry, we don't have fries. We have chips because we're in Scotland. Oh my God, the shade feels so good. Must be 10 degrees cooler. So I actually just noticed there's a trail that leads in through the forest, which I think takes you like to the firing range and the forest itself. And I'm like, should I do that trail because it's much more shady? Or should I just continue down this path? I don't know. I'm gonna check my map, actually. Oh, okay, never mind. That trail would be the detour, I guess, around the firing range, but it goes like way inland. So I might be able to keep going a little ways on the coast and then go into the forest after the firing range. So it's like closer to the coast. I wonder how many sips I have in a liter. I should do a test. Maybe I should paint here while I have some shade. It's just so bloody hot. It's zapping my energy. I've only done like a mile and a half. Why did I choose to do this in a heat wave? This concrete feels nice. Okay, decisions. Let's do a little sketch while I have energy. Get a bunch of water, a snack. Guess what? At Lossiemouth, there is a restaurant called the Harbor Lights. It's my favorite brunch slash, it's one of my favorite restaurants ever actually, because they make the most amazing French toast with berries and syrup, or you can get whatever with it. Oh my God, it is, my mouth is watering. Like my goal is to get there by the time they close. They close at 4. So I have to walk the whole 7 miles in 4 hours. But like, I've been fantasizing about it. Does anyone else do that on the trail? I mean, obviously you do. But I also don't want to torture myself, so I'm gonna try to think about something else. It's a little bit odd that I'm walking on this trail. Forest, grasses, rocks, but I can hear waves crashing. It's just the strangest sensation. Okay. Okay, let's have a little check-in. No ticks, clean feet, no hot spots, which is good. It's surprising because it's so hot. Like, the more you sweat, the more likely you are to have blisters. I'm using these monoskin socks, and so far they stay surprisingly dry. They dry really fast. I just like set them out in the sun when I take a break. Also, if you like chocolate, these are amazing. I'm not sponsored or anything. No one's sponsoring me for anything. Let's just get that out there. But these are just my favorite trail snack right now. Oh, let's check the map. I'm not quite halfway. My pace is 30 minutes. Does that mean 30 minutes per mile? 30 minutes per 0.8 miles. I guess that's the firing range. Before going on this hike, I read a bunch of walk reports from other hikers, and sometimes they say they got detoured at the firing range, and other times there was no mention of it. So I had no idea what to expect, but when I was there, it seemed like it was totally abandoned and there was just no signs of anything. So I just kept going. And shortly after, I ran into a hiker who told me there's a track that leads a little bit inland to the forest track, and it provides a little more shelter from the wind and sun. So I figured, why not? I'm sick of staring at the same thing mile after mile, so let's change it up a bit. I have this beautiful woodland now. Lots of butterflies and wildflowers. It's just so gorgeous. And a little bit of shade. I am going through my water faster than I anticipated because it's so hot. So I might run out of water by the time I get there. Just trying to be careful. And if I get overheated, I'll just like sit for a minute and cool down. And that helps a ton. So we have about 4 miles left. And I have 1 liter of water, so that's not enough unless I ration it. I can't believe I drank so much water already. Nice little forest trail past the quarry. But the quarry is quite loud. It's crazy. So I have my headphones in, listening to the Plein Air podcast. It's amazing. Helps the miles go by when I'm really tired. Leaving the forest now. I'm on some kind of logging trail, logging road, and thankfully I have some shade but from the trees, and I'm guessing I have like 2 miles to go, maybe a mile and a half. Oh my God, I am just at my limit, you guys. To be honest, about halfway I was a little scared. I was like, well, either I go back and feel defeated and dehydrated, or I just keep going and make it to town and feel dehydrated and tired, but have a beautiful view of the beach and hopefully some delicious food. So I decided to keep going. But this is definitely pushing me. And it's not like there's any elevation. It's just the heat. Oh, God. I'm not used to it. I don't know how, but my shoes keep getting full of these little like spiky plants just on the inside corner. Someone just jogged past me, so I must be near civilization. Yes, soon I will see dunes. Let there be dunes. Because that means food and water and things and rest. I'm making sure to stretch every time I stop and in between. If only this was a cafe. The road goes ever on and on, down from the door where it began. I don't even know where I began or where I'm going. I'm just going. Finally, something different. Hope is rekindled. 2.5 miles.
2.5 miles
Left? Me. No, I'm way farther. Oh, maybe I am there. Well, if it's not obvious by now, I was going a little doolally with the heat and I had to stop like every 15-20 minutes to let my head cool down because it felt like my brain was turning into scrambled eggs. Every 15-20 minutes, I'd get so heated up that if I didn't stop, I felt really dizzy. And I was rationing my water at this point. I was just regretting everything in life. So that's a bit of my snack. Does it ever end? Look at those heat waves. Just goes on and on. It looks like I'm about to leave the comfort or shade of the forest and back into the sun. But the landscape is changing to dunes very shortly, which is exciting. I think the variety of landscape is what helps keep it interesting. Otherwise, it just seems endless. Stomach has been grumbling for like 30 minutes. I'm so done. At this point, I was so caught up in my own narcissistic torture that I was walking through town thinking, why is no one cheering for me? Don't you know what I've just done? but I just stumbled along as best as I could. I'm sure people were looking at me a little bit concerned because my face was beet red and I was literally stumbling. And I was actually starting to get so dizzy. By the time I got to the restaurant, I just sat down and they instantly brought me water because I think they could tell I was just done. And you know what? I had one of the best meals of my life. How are you feeling? Not everything. You can probably guess that there were a lot of lessons learned on this hike. And it's not like it was the hardest hike in the world, the most strenuous, or anything. It was purely the fact that it was so disgustingly hot in an area of the world that is not supposed to be that hot. Anytime Scotland gets a heat wave, it's pretty brutal. It reminded me of when I was younger in high school. Whenever I would do the summer volleyball camp, we had to fill out a form that explained what our living conditions were like, mainly because if you are used to air conditioning, which is pretty common in New York, you would not be able to handle certain things that would happen at the volleyball camp. So they would put you in a separate group that usually stayed in the gym and did shorter sessions until you acclimated, because the summer volleyball camp was during the hottest months of the year and you were worked to the bone in that heat. And for those of us who didn't have air conditioning day and night in our home life or work life, we were considered the hardcore group, and we would have to run outside in the blazing heat and humidity and do all of the gym drills in full heat. And, you know, it was just a different version of the camp for us. So when I was sitting there painting, reflecting on the day, I realized that over the last 5 years, my body has really acclimated to not having air conditioning, but also just not living in heat. We just don't have this kind of heat in Scotland that often. And I also learned that there's something called relative humidity, which changes how you feel in heat and humidity. So this little chart is an example of, if it's this degrees and this humidity, this is what it actually feels like. And so you can use a chart like this to prepare yourself if you're doing hikes in any kind of heat. I don't plan on doing a hike like this in a heat wave ever again, but it's also good to just know your limits and know your body for the unexpected, for the unforeseen circumstances, the what ifs. Kind of hard to believe that I started way over there. Okay, we made it. This town gets really busy in the summer. Wolfie's coming to pick me up and take me back to my car. So far, this was the hardest day because I wasn't prepared. Join me next week for the next section of the Moray Coast Trail, a beautiful and diverse area and definitely a breath of fresh air after such a tough hike. I think this next section is probably my favorite on the whole trail. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you soon.